Well, respected His Excellency Doctor, distinguished professors, lecturers, fellow researchers, and all the students of Belty IU and Belty High School. Good afternoon. My name's Nyanara, and I'm a PhD student of Belty IU Campus 1. And today, I am honored to share with all of you about my master thesis for the BICC Research Forum 2026, titled The Importance of Buddhist Education and Human Resource Development at Principal Buddhist Primary School, Cambodia. My master thesis was under the supervision of Dr. Nowana, my supervisor, and I will take you through the core research problem, questions and objectives, research reviews, literature reviews, conceptual models, research methodology, research finding, discussions, conclusion, and localized recommendation and implications. For the research problems and gaps, in contemporary Cambodia, the foundational schooling is really critical for social progress. We have the pagoda school, we have the government school, and the pagoda school or the monastic school have stood as vital pillar in Cambodian educations. However, the literature gaps or the gaps of the studies still exist in our literature. Very few studies look at real primary schools, how to measure, how schools actually build practical student skills and human resource. A lot of researchers conduct the research study on higher education, but less researchers conduct research on primary schools. And people often doubt whether the religious schools are strict enough to prepare the students for higher level, like a high school or universities. Also, we need to study how the management teams, teacher, administrator prepare the students for their future. So these are the research problems and gaps that we are going to talk about in the next slide. The research questions and objectives. In this research question, how does Buddhist education translate into and influence measurable human resource development outcomes? That here I stated the three domains, very important: cognitive, affective, and behavioral development at primary school level in contemporary Cambodia. To answer these questions systematically, so the objectives breaks down into the first one, to evaluate the role and significance of Buddhist education. What are the role and significance of Buddhist education? The second objective, to analyze the specific benefits that the students get from studying in the Buddhist education and apply the benefits into educational stage and careers, their future. And lastly, to highlight the role Buddhism plays in providing beneficial perspective, ethical living. So all of these objectives really align with cognitive, affective, and behavioral development, like ethical living. So ethical living that the student get from studying in Buddhist education, so can develop the behaviors of the students. So how? So let's see. Number two, literature review. To ground these studies, Roxat et al. 2025 defined Buddhist education as a pedagogical framework of wisdom and compassion, and connect with the human resource development that Tui Wedi et al. 2024 defined as a systematic framework for enhancing skills, knowledge, and capabilities to improve institutional effectiveness. Also, monastic schools, or we can say pagoda school, simple English, institutions combining of the state-mandated curriculum with traditional Buddhist studies or Buddhist ethics. Mean we teach the moral conducts with the curriculum from the government. And primary education, defined by the Ministry of Education and Sport, a critical foundational level of modern formal schooling. Number 3, conceptual framework. For these studies, the conceptual framework adapted from a model structured from Roxat et al., Chan et al., these are the scholars, and we adapted from them. We have independent variables and dependent variables. In independent variables, Buddhist education divided into 3 domains. We have ethical dimension, or we known as sila in Bali, sal, or in English normally called moral conducts, moral norms. Number 2, contemplative dimension, samadhi or meditation. And number 3, wisdom or panya in Bali word, or philosophical literacy. And we have dependent variables, human resource development. Number 1, affective development. Number 2, cognitive development. And number 3, behavioral developments. So all the 3 dependent variables produced from this one, people or Buddhist students, when they practice sila or moral norms, so that produce moral reasoning or behavior. When they practice sila, their behavior improve or developed well and perform well in the society. Samadhi or meditation. So this produce academic performance, and wisdom or philosophical literacy produce practical skills. Let's jump right into research methodology, the main part here too. Research design. For the research design, I use mixed method or explanatory sequential mixed method, qualitative to quantitative, Creswell 2018. For the data collection tools, questionnaire developed from literature review and empirical studies, interview focus group and individual. And I use SPSS to analyze the quantitative data. And for descriptive statistic, frequency and percentage, we use this to interpret and to show the findings. And qualitatively, open coding, category focus coding, themes, okay, understanding concepts, opinions. So in this, we also interview the key informants from all the respondents in order to make sure that the research conducted correctly with the mixed method. 4.2, population. These studies was conducted and consisted with all 85 Buddhist students, and we use Yamane's formula 1967 with 5% margin error, and all the students, after calculating this, so we get the population 70 Buddhist students. The sampling techniques, purposive selected the 5 key informants for the in-depth semi-structured interviews, and from the above selected, use simple random sampling selection from a list of students, teachers, and administrators. So among the 70 students, we purposefully select the 5 informants to answer in the interview for the in-depth semi-structures interviews. Okay, so here is the research finding, the most important or the main sections of the study. We want to see this. We want to know in the first table about the demographic information. All the participants were male because of in the monastic study, the Buddhist monks or the Buddhist students, they are all male. So 100% of those students are male. And 61.42% majority experiencing residential monastic life. All of those students, they are living in the temple. They are living in the temple or in the Buddhist schools. At least 2 to 5 years that they are living there. And yes, the age just from 16 to 20 years old. Yeah, the high attainment is primary school. All right, let's move to table number 2. For table number 2, perceived importance of this education. In these statistically analysis show that 77.14% of the respondents, they learn the ways to behave and to be good citizens because of the Buddhist teaching combined with the lesson from the government or the Ministry of Education. So together, the Buddhist students learn the way to behave and to be good citizens. Following with the 74.28% of the respondents strongly agree that the Buddhist education really provide religious and universal knowledge, and 71.42% of the respondents also strongly agree that Buddhist education educate people to think critically. To think critically. And we have here, yeah, we have live in harmony, 57.14. And here, however, the fascinating paradox or research paradox here, even though this research study focus on like the moral conducts or to live in peaceful life, but here they have a peaceful life, get the lowest score, just 42.85%. Why? So why when we conduct research on Buddhist concept and the results show this the lowest score 42.85% strongly agree that have a peaceful life because of most students they are come from the poor family, so they focus on the immediate academic results and economic survival mostly. They focus on that. The economic survival, they just want to survive. When they come to the temple, they can learn and they can have food that offer from the lay people. Also connect with this. Sorry. No. Also connect with this. But this education's contributions to human resource development. Here, 88.57% of the participants strongly agree that orphans have chance to study. Most orphans, they don't have the parents, so they have chance to come to the temple and study. Followed by 82.85% of the participants strongly agree that give opportunity to poor students, that they have a chance to study in our Buddhist schools, in the Buddhist schools. Followed by 81.42% students from countryside are able to continue their study at higher level. So this shows that can be connect with the social safety net that the Buddhist education not just give the education, but also Buddhist education give the place for residential living and also free meal as well that offer from the lay people. Table number 3. Buddhist education contribute to human resource development. So this one for the social safety nets contribute to human resource development. Okay, still the same chart, the same table, but explore more about the curriculum following standards and meet social demands, like I mentioned, combine with the standards from the MOE, okay, and live with sanitation and live healthily, get the lowest score, 44.28%, because most students, they are young. They sometimes they don't know a lot about how to eat healthy and to live healthy. Let's move to number 4, open-ended perception of this education's importance. So here that's critically demonstrate that for the general education value, we got a 50%, but this education provides knowledge and understanding of the world, develops skills necessary for life success. And 42.85% human resource development, that but this education develops appropriate behavior, teaches correct conduct, and shape characters. Now, let's move to the discussions. High consensus on citizenship. As shown in the table, 77.14% strongly agree that the school teaches students to behave well and good citizens. As we know that Buddhist ethics, Buddhist teaching that include into the curriculum also guide the students how to live in the society and to be good citizens and to behave well in the society. And highly agreement that orphans 88.57% and poor rural youth get a life-changing chance to study. They are from countryside, they have chance to study, to stay in the temple and to study. Two important things they get at one time, to study and to live. So this is really important. Yeah, okay, as shown and explained in the table, because of impoverished children priorities survival and future jobs over high-level philosophy. That's why the having a peaceful life get the lowest score, 42.85%. And for the academic success, 75.71% agree that the school gives them enough knowledge to transfer to higher levels. Number 7, conclusions and recommendations and implications. So, Buddhist education contributes substantially to human resource development across the 3 main domains, as I mentioned in the conceptual framework: cognitive development, okay, affective development, and behavioral developments. So these successfully merge standard ministry mandate subjects with the Buddhist teaching to develop critical thinking, okay, shape students' morals and emotional, yeah, for effective development, so they can uh, purify themselves with moralities and emotional controls. And behavioral development, be good citizenship and appropriate social actions. Also, the school as a social net, a safety net, helping the poor. As I mentioned earlier, 88.57% strongly agreement that orphans have chance to study, and the students from the poor family have chance to study, get the free education. The school lies in doing everything at once, combining ethics, meditation, free housing and meals, and academic supports. Students come to study at Buddhist principal Buddhist primary school. They just have to learn how to meditate, learn how to worship, learn how to like learn the both from the subjects from the curriculum from the MOE and also include the traditional studies of the Buddhist education, like ethics, like principles, the Buddhist principles, something like that. and academic supports to prepare students for spiritual growth and higher morals. 75.71% agree that the Buddhist school successfully prepare students to move on in higher school levels. Most students, they get the examination and they pass to study in higher level, like to Buddhist high school or to study in state school. And it proves the school can hit more than government standards while still keeping a strong focus on moral character. For localized recommendations, keep blended lessons. School should continue mixing regular subjects and daily practice and moral training because this combined approach work best. This combined approach have working best. That's why the school should continue doing this. And the government or policymakers, NGOs, should step in to give the school with financial support, with modern technology or modern tools for helping the students learn best or learn better textbook and proper training for teachers as well. Also, leaders must remember that the schools do great things at once, like mentioned earlier, the students' quality of education and act as a free lifeline for orphans. For the future studies, for the future researcher should focus on different location or the cities or the province, not just this single location. So the researcher can do more research on this, but in the provinces or in the cities, not just one location. And check if the benefits last when students move up to high school, university, interview former alumni, not just the student, but also the parents and the neighborhood's member to see a long-term impact, as well as the we can do the longitudinal study that tests the students' actual skill instead of just asking for their opinions, so can access to their skills and put the results side by side, compare between the non-Buddhist public schools with the Buddhist public school to highlight the unique difference. What is the difference between the non-Buddhist and the Buddhist schools? So these also are the future research studies or future studies that recommended by the researcher. And thank you so much for your attention. And I welcome all the questions and recommendation. Thank you.